So we'll eventually get organized here.
We're on.
We're on, but we're getting a little bit more. It's all about communication and relationships. I have been, keep you up to date, my healing pattern has been I healed off that I have to be the mother. That I have to, mothers you do not pay, mothers you don't, you just say thank you to, and that's about it.
They get the cold meal.
I get the cold meal, it's just all those things that a mother's supposed to do. So I decided that the reason why all of a sudden the clients that were expecting not to pay are shocked. Well, what are you talking about? It's like, well, you're there to help me. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. And I realized that the energy that was coming off of me when I was projecting was that I want to help. And so then those that really need a mother figure, I happen to be there. Which then, what do? You want that love. And as you start to get it, you're like, what are you talking about? I don't have to give you anything in respect. Your duty is to feed me and take care of me. They don't blatantly come out and say it, but it is still that energy cord. So then I cut it, which then caused people to show up a little differently. So it's like somebody will ask me something and I will answer it, but if it's not up to their liking, then they can be mean to me with their claws and their teeth and say nasty things. Last week somebody had to call me a BITC because I would not give them what they wanted. And I thought that reminds me of when I was younger and really would have reacted and hurt. I knew that would hurt them. And I wasn't trying to take away my love, but I was tired of being the doormat. I was tired of doing everything for that person. Why should I? And so when I decided I was done, then they would bring out their teeth and their nails, and they would be vicious in their self-talk and actions. And I used to be very frightened of that as a kid. So now I had put something on my wall, and it was a very neutral sign. It says, are you Democratic? No. Are you Republican? No. Are you awake? Yes, I like the fact that I'm awake. So I had this other guy blast me because how dare I take a stance with Mitt Romney? Well, it doesn't show on the picture, but it shows where you shared it from. Now, first of all, it's my opinion of whoever I choose to want to, whoever I choose, and whatever I choose is my political will. But at the same time, he just started to assume and started to jump down my throat. And he wrote it all in caps to scream at me, and hopefully all my friends will see how embarrassed and ashamed I am that I started to follow Mitt Romney. Excuse me. I'm not going to share any of my political views, and I'm here for peace, not war. So there's not, well, if you're not for me, you must be against me. There's actually a third option. I have learned that third option. I kind of grew up with the third option, so I have that experience. Don't take that away from me. Because you don't have that experience, then don't try to take it away. But what I realized is that I projected this man then to show up. What I noticed is I didn't really react. You watched me as I reacted.
Right, you just said, okay, well, what's my response going to be?
Right, and
well, and then it was just a thoughtful, kind of processing out as you're typing. Yeah, okay, and then I'll do such and such and such. Okay, fine. And that was it. It was like, oh.
See, before I could feel myself being scared, feeling I have to apologize, take responsibility. I have to hide myself or take the picture down and repost another picture or something just to defend myself because of the fear of their wrath. I went to his page. Now, he could be gay or he may not be gay. It don't matter to me, but he is for gay rights. And yet, here he is, mad at people for bashing the gays, but yet he's turning around and bashing Mitt Romney. I don't care if he likes the dude or not, but he shouldn't be attacking me. Won't that make me want to vote more towards Mitt if I was going to be just a regular human? Right. It's like when you tell the teenager, don't do that, and now all of a sudden they got to do that. So if you really want to stand in a political forum, stop feeding the fire. Stop doing that. That's what I would say.
Stop feeding the trolls.
Yes.
But I notice it's the main aspect. I even had my husband and I go in a little tiff, and I had a heal last night about how I detach. There's a difference between not reacting or detaching your heart or being in observation mode. I mean, literally, sometimes when I get in observation mode, Jen's like, where are you? Woohoo, where are you? Because she's looking for an emotional response.
And it's like you shifted into neutral.
Yes.
And you shifted into neutral, and you're just observing. And that is a form of detachment. Now, and we were saying that there's the detachment where you're like, well, I'm just going to detach from such and such.
Well, you can deliberately, forcefully be hurt and say, I'm going to detach, which you can feel. But either way, one of the things I noticed is if you're holding someone's hand and you felt their energy slip away from you, or you felt their hand slip away from you, it's the detachment of the energy. It feels, and you don't know what it is. Where did it go? So you feel like you're rejected or neglected, but it's the detachment. We were in combat zone as far as me and him and I playing games. And it was going back to old memory, and I thought, oh, I observed it and I didn't like it, and I thought, huh. Now what's funny is that normally I shut down and don't say anything. Well, this time I came back with a comment, which hurt him. But I thought it was interesting because it doesn't matter what anybody else's comments are. If I get hurt, I'm hurt. And they could care less. But I notice if they're hurt, and this goes into what I've been healing, then all of a sudden their wrath comes out, their teeth and their claws, and they're wanting to make sure I feel the pain that they think I caused.
Right, and you're simply making an observation of this such and such happened. This is like such and such and such. Oh, da, 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 da. And it was just like, I'm observing this.
And then I couldn't even really switch from observer mode into who I was, because I went into a feeling that I could not really put a label of an emotion to. It wasn't that I mean, it really was just grief. It's like no matter what part I play, if they're hurt, then I cause the grief, or there's grief that's going to have to follow, or I have to behave myself, or some type of grief. Which cause? Now this is what was interesting. My teeth have not had any problems. Now, the question I asked the universe simply was, why is it in the group consciousness, it seems like this is the time of year where people get allergy issues. The
Right.
sniffling,
the changing of the
sneezing.
season is like from spring it happens and then in autumn.
And my husband can gauge me whether or not I'm sick because I'm sick or sick because of an allergy, because he's got friends at work that, your wife sick? Yeah, okay, well it's allergy season. I mean, you could really see that these people are sick, I'm sick, it's like brain of clockwork. And I thought, how interesting, we created antibodies to fight off something. So what is in this group consciousness that everybody has to go to? And that ended up being the question. And as I'm healing this 3-year-old self that I become when this interaction with adults occurred, again, I'm 45, right? Yeah, I'm 45, and I'm...
Yes. Last check.
Last check. I was going to say 49, but no, that's your age.
Shh, don't tell nobody.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm 45. But it seems strange because I'm really trying to understand, and that's the problem, is that I'm using my human mindset to try when the subconscious mind only sees try as to stare. Yes, it helps bring the attention on it, but it doesn't take a motivation, an action, a motion. So I observed, and I've noticed that when I had started to heal the pain, that I'm afraid of your reaction, that I'm going to be attacked if I speak up. So I've noticed the things that I've done. I spoke up to the guy in a very nice way, and yet he called me a bitch. I was online and I wrote back and said, don't assume, blah, 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 blah. But he took offense because I didn't stand for the cause of the political stance.
The
But if I
picture was
did,
a politically neutral picture too. You didn't know us for one party or another
no,
when
I
you
didn't.
copied it.
When I shared it,
It
no.
just was neutral, and that you always stay neutral. So and this guy took offense, and I said, "What's he taking offense at?" And you said, "Well, look at the top." And I said, "Oh, it says
Because
Omni.com or
his
something."
comments
I didn't
didn't
realize.
make sense, and he says, "Oh, this is
Mitten book.
a mitten book instead of
Facebook.
Facebook." And I thought, what the hell is he talking
I
about?
thought
I
he
can
was
understand
talking
where
about Michigan
mitt
being
comes
the mitten.
from.
I was trying to understand.
Exactly, and I'm like, it's
I've
not
tried to
winter,
process
it's still August. We're not wearing winter clothes.
And it wasn't until I looked at the bottom and it
We
said,
didn't know it was a Mitt Romney.
he was
Yeah.
saying that Mitt's a cult, whatever. He was just saying bad stuff about Mitt. But it took me a while to figure out he meant Mitt Romney. And then at the bottom, it really looked like he, was against it. And I'm thinking, whoa. So do I have the courage to stand in my authenticity, to say what I want to say? Well, I'm learning that I can, and I don't have to worry about it. We'll get back to talking about this. We have a call. So what we're going to do is we're going to take as soon as Jen says it.
Area code 517, you're on the air.
With Brenda, Jen, and Scott.
Hi, this is Jane, Robert's mom, and I saw on your Facebook about reading.
Oh! Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, how's it going? What can we do for you?
Well, I really just saw on your Facebook that you were on the air, and it was about readings, spiritual, and so I was calling to find out what that was about and if you could do one for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So do you have a specific question, or do you want just a general spiritual reading?
Just a general spiritual reading, I think.
Okay.
So, Jen, since you personally know her, and we have prayed so much for your son, and I'm so
Yes,
glad
yes.
to see the results. So,
Oh, thank you.
it's such a great story. So anyways, I will let Jen go ahead and do what you're going to do, and then I'll come in and help when I'm supposed to.
Okay. So we use different oracle decks, like the angels and ascended masters and all sorts of things. And so what I'm doing is I'm pulling from an ascended masters deck to find out there's an ascended master that wants to let you know that they've been with you on this part of your journey, and that is Paravati, and that's a positive change. And I am going to read what the book says about this particular. So your likes and dislikes have changed, and you've outgrown situations that once appealed to you. These are positive developments signaling your spiritual growth. Some of these situations are blessings in disguise, as they're pushing you to make necessary and positive changes. You may feel pushed beyond your comfort zone as multiple areas of your life shift and flux, yet the universe always stands ready to support you with whatever you ask for. So let go, enjoy the ride, because it truly is for the best.
And Scott, I see that you have drawn a card also.
Yeah, this is from the Wisdom of Avalon Oracle cards. And this says, it's one of the cow, nourishment, abundance, asking, receiving. The cow says, take my milk, I can always feed you. I'll eat the grass of the god or goddesses and in turn pass good fortune on to you. Nourishment is never ending when I appear in your path. Don't forget to till the soil so that grass may grow. Abundance is made manifest out of a universal system. Do your part, and I will do mine with joy. Ask, and you will receive all the blessings I have to offer. The cow reminds you that there is no shortage of blessings in the world. Ask to partake in infinite abundance, and you will indeed get exactly what you need.
Wow, talk about nothing but positive change and abundance. That is awesome. That's an excellent
That's
reading.
Well, I do kind of have a question. When my son went through all that stuff that he went through, I told Dad that if he had to take someone, to take me. And I was kind of wondering, do you think that, because like when you offer something up like that, is there like a time frame where God will be
Asking,
like,
wondering
okay.
if you're going to die. Okay, I'm going to just check into your
Back in
soul's.
50 years.
I will. Well, here's the one thing that reminds me of is when you do say that, God don't really hold it to you like the devil would. He doesn't He doesn't send the hellhounds like the devil would. So in this case,
And they also understand, your angels understand that you're coming at it from a mom perspective.
and they saw your plea is a great deal of compassion and love. Okay.
And that you're willing to sacrifice for your son.
And
That's
so
seen as a good thing.
it
so.
is. And what I'm asking your soul is that, are you afraid that something bad could happen? Yes. Okay, now I'm going to ask a little further.
I'm not afraid to die. I'm still willing to die if that's the trade.
Okay,
But I'm kind of wondering, is there any way of knowing that it's going to happen? I mean, I'm prepared to go.
well that's what I'm
You know.
telling you. There is no, one thing that your soul is saying is there is no contract out for you.
Okay.
Okay, you will go when it's time for you to go, and as far as that, there's a much work. That's why you got cards that says you have much blessings, and so I'm going to ask a little deeper. This has to go back to. See, there's no greater loss except for to lose your family, your kids,
Yes.
and the one thing that they want you to understand is that you're released. There's no contract there. But what they do want you to know is to open up and receive your blessings instead of thinking that you have to now sacrifice. That's not how they're directing you. That's why they're thankful you called, because they want you to understand is that you can be now more of a blessing to yourself by learning to live it. Live your life to the fullest. Because right now they said you have much grief that sets in you because of that great temptation of loss. And they're saying that you had to go through that physical experience, and that drained you. That played a huge part on who you are right now, but they don't want that to hold you back and make you sick. They don't want you to think, oh gosh, because you made that promise or that prayer, that you're going to come up with a disease. They want you to release that fear, release that emotion, that grief, because remember, you took on that experience, every waking moment of that experience, while Robert was going through that whole ordeal. And they're saying that you have, it's like it's a trauma for you. And they want you to release that trauma.
Yeah, I'm actually still having a hard time, like, trouble going to sleep because I'm afraid if I sleep, he'll die.
Exactly. And they want you to release that trauma because they don't want, when you carry trauma, when you carry negativity, when you're carrying any negative thought, what happens, you have to create those chemical peptides. And if they are not, if you don't run on a treadmill and get those chemical peptides out, they have to store. And they said right now you have such an acute where it's not you're just slowly building, but yet your body can process. We don't want to turn it into a chronic thing, and so we need closure to this trauma. You with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay. So the thing is that as far as the closure, you will need to process out all of that pain and that horror, all those times that you had, crying and upset and thinking the worst, and the doctor's even telling you the worst, and preparing for that moment of saying, okay, I'll let go, because all of that, that's all the stuff that sits in you, and then those fears that it could happen again. Being a mother, that was my worst fear, and that's one reason why I ended up getting into this holistic way of living. They want you to heal it. The main thing they want you to heal is the fear, that you have to reassure yourself that, okay, Robert's still alive, everything's good, okay, I'm going to start my day. All of that. Now, what I'm doing is I'm asking right now, is it ready to be released? Yes. What's the best way to do it? And I don't know how much you and Jen have ever talked as far as healing tools go, but we actually have a space, MWReveal.com, under healing tools. You look for, and the one that I would want you to do would be called Hope Therapy. But if you're not...
What type of therapy?
It's called Hope Therapy, and it's on our website, which is www.m as in medicine, W as in women, reveal, MWReveal.com. And then on the left side is the menu, and you go to Healing Tools. And then in our Healing Tools section, it's called Hope Therapy.
And it's got the video and it's got the instructions. The main thing is that you already know what you're going to think about. And I want you to understand that when you go to heal this and think about it, the tool you're going to do is simply be placing your thumb on your right thumb on your left wrist. Again, when you're watching the video, it'll make sense. And you're going to place it in the third position on the pulse points. On our wrist is a pulse point, and if you lay your fingers on there, you can have first, second, and third position. For you, you're going to put your right thumb on your left wrist on that third point, and you're going to push lightly on the thumb. You're not going to push deep. Once you start watching the video, it'll make sense. So your code is L3S, and what you're going to do is once you learn to put your hand in that position, your left hand's going to go on your forehead and your hairline. And then you're going to think about all that trauma, and you're going to get it up there to a big fat 10 or 10 billion. You cry probably. Let yourself really think of the nasty stuff, because this is where you won't get swallowed up. You will actually start to fizzle it out. And what happens with the forehead is there's two points on it called the oh my God points. And what that is, when we go to fight, flight, or freeze, 80% of the blood leaves our forebrain. And that frontal lobe is needed to make reality every day. But if you got chemical peptides in that frontal lobe, you're just going to be always in fear. But by having your hand on there, doing the hope therapy, the blood's going to come back up, swish and clean out the way that reality, yes, it happened, but we're going to help you to let it go. You're going to create closure. Do you understand?
Uh-huh.
So you're going to focus with all your might, get it on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 billion or whatever it is, of all the worst things that could happen or did happen, and you're going to give it a color, and if you can't do color, no big deal, but eventually, because your hand will be in that position, the number will come down. Stay with it until it's 0. Don't go, oh, I feel a little bit there. We don't want to build it back up. We really want you to get it gone. And if you can't stay in that position and think about it anymore, and you don't emotionally feel it anymore, then get up, walk around. But if something like the radio show or a TV show pops up and reminds you of the loss of Robert, oh my God! And you can feel that number shoot back up, quickly go back to holding L3S and just go through that last bit of remnants and get it gone. I mean, don't force it. The where your hand is will actually do all the work, because all you're doing is moving energy. Okay? Your job is just to think and feel, and it will dissipate all by itself. And you'll start to create closure to that trauma, okay?
Yeah, I need that really bad, and I've been really sick the last 2 weeks.
That's the chemical peptides doing that to you. Now that you get the chance to relax, it's all rushing in on you.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, well, go ahead and heal that. You know, I mean, we're here if you need us. We're soul coaches. Just, well, you have to make an appointment, but, or unless Jen, whatever she, you know, whatever she's, you talk to her.
Yep.
Awesome.
And it was so surreal seeing him yesterday at participation, and just like, oh my gosh, 2 months ago, what was going on? It's just, it's incredible.
Yeah, I'm still dealing with it, like I said, you know, as a mom, because I never left his side at the hospital, and
Right.
I watched him like a hawk.
Yeah.
Now I'm afraid, like I was in the hospital still, that if I sleep, he will die.
Oh God, that's the worst fear. Yes.
Yeah.
When my son got hit in the head with a baseball bat, you know, that lingers with you until you resolve it.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my gosh, that just stays there. So please go and heal. And right now, just look at it this way. It's like when you be on an airplane, and they tell you to put the oxygen mask on first, because if you don't do that, then you're really not going to be good to anybody else. So this is your time to take care of yourself, get this resolved, so that you really can be there for Robert and whoever else is in your world.
I really appreciate it, and if I need some help, I'm going to call on you, okay?
Oh, that's where we are, okay? You know where
That's
we are.
why I'm in your world, apparently.
Thank you for calling in, dear.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, guys.
All
Okay,
right,
many
stay well.
blessings.
Okay,
Okay, bye.
it's so important to understand that, you know, like she says, it's now getting caught up to her. I remember when I was in a car accident. It was interesting because I'm maneuvering the car, you know, I hit a deer, I seen it fly up, but yet I parked perfectly on the side of the road. And I thought, okay, I got to assess the situation. What do I do? The deer's off the road, nobody's around. Oh, there's a house. I you know, before cell phones. So I walked calmly all the way up to the house. And when I apparently knew that I was going to be safe, I knocked on the door, and as I hit the first knock, I just became a blibbering idiot. They answer the door, pointing, and they're like, "Did you get in a car accident? Did you hit a deer?" And they're like, "Okay, we got a phone. We'll get you some water." And I'm like, and it was the chemical peptides that come rushing in because I knew I was safe. And I know exactly what she's talking about because it will hit you. I mean, after my son got hit in the baseball bat, he's alive, amen. But the hardest part was simply, you know, oh my God, rehearsing that hit in his head. Oh my God, oh God. Well, I didn't really sleep very well, and I know I became sick. And I didn't have healing tools then, but now that I do, I can actually cause that trauma to have closure. So that now when stuff like that happens, I saw a piñata and I saw a trigger, I had to go heal that because I don't like piñatas.
Now they're blindfolded and swinging the thing.
I was watching that, yes. Promise, we're going to take, what is it, Jen?
Area code 501. On the air. How can
Hi,
I
good
help you?
afternoon. How are you?
Great, how are you?
Oh, doing pretty good. This is Janae, and I wanted to ask you a couple of things.
Okay.
I've been working with you, and I've also done, been doing your EHT therapy. But there's something that's come up, and it's fear-related. But I've got to be moving here in a couple of months, and I'll tell you, I don't know what about it has got me petrified, that it's so fear-related, and I just can't hardly move. I mean, it's just got myself sabotage myself lately because I'm afraid to move. I don't understand it.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. When you were 4 years old, do you remember anything about moving then, or somebody moving out on you?
Yes, we talked about this in our private session. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so this came up again. And it says at 4 years old, and now it sits in the bladder meridian, which is the volition to move, the will to move. And they really are saying that you feel paralyzed, you can't move. And they go back to 4 years old, and they're saying it again, I'm trying to figure it out. They're saying it's the way you self-talk. So you basically, you're getting ready to move. I don't care how adult you are, somehow the self-talk of that 4-year-old comes up, and that's what I'm trying to discover. So when you know that now that you have to move, what kind of talk goes running in your head?
It's going to be hard. I'm going to lose things. I don't know where to begin.
That's it. Good. Okay, that's what you're going to look at, is that these are the thoughts you think. It's about awkwardness.
So that's why I just dropped all the cards in my lap.
Yeah, and you can watch that
All right,
video.
that's an outtake on YouTube.
Awkwardness, yes.
Awkward, yeah. So
So that's awkwardness. But that really had affected you as a kid. So now I'm just going to see if there's anything else deeper that needs to be worked on. Well, it falls under mortification, which would be that sense of, like, for instance, you got to move. So do you feel like all of a sudden you lose all strength, that you don't have the strength to do this? Okay, that's part of the other thing they want you to focus on, is you feel it leave you. If you feel your energy that I can't do this, or I don't want to do it. I'm looking for, go ahead, dear, what?
I was just agreeing with you. You're right.
Okay, all right, now I'm going to pull another card because I feel like I got to go deeper. There's something else there.
I just know I'm really scared. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, we know it's the what did you do, Jen?
this is awesome.
She's doing a lot of awkward.
I'm doing a lot of
Upside
awkward
down.
things as I'm.
So there's a party that's afraid you're going to screw up and have to do more work than necessary, from what I'm seeing. This is quite interesting. Okay, so I'm going to watch Jen do this, but I picked up a card called Magic Stream, and it's upside down. It says, in reverse position, the Magic Stream card represents swimming against the current. There are times when effort and sheer willpower result in victory and celebration, but this isn't one of them. Oh God, that's not good. You can't force inspiration. You can't manufacture creativity, lest you borrow too heavily from others' ideas. Neither can you make someone love you or orchestrate a series of events that might place you in a more favorable position. Now is the time to drop the trying and jump into the stream and float. Okay, immerse yourself in the experience of being fully present with whatever's true for the moment. You'll never step in the same river twice again. Okay, so what I feel like you're doing is that the self-talk is that sabotage of the 4-year-old. So you're actually having the 4-year-old strategy of before you move. And that is actually creating the chemical peptides, which causes you want to run. You want to run from having to do this. I don't want to do this.
Right.
And literally, I'm just going to find out, where would you hold to do this? You're going to be holding L3S. So when you get done, you hold L3S, And you're going to think about all these things about the self-talk. I gotta move, and I don't want to do it. And literally notice how there's a party that just wants to run. You're mortified. All the strength is leaving you. Because there's a part of anxiety that's starting to pop in. And some of this anxiety is not even yours. It is, I feel like your mother's, that, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Yeah, I don't want to do this. This is a very fearful. So when you look at that coming from that point of view, what frame of mind do you think your mother was in? Was she scared about doing what she had to do to move that forward?
Yeah, I would get very depressed and just go to bed and just not deal with anything.
Ah, okay. Let me just hold here. Yes, you picked that up.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing is you're ready to break that mold. You're done. So again, you're going to be holding L3S and thinking about all these things. Put it in a color and a number and just start thinking them until they're gone. And Jen, what do you have for?
It's interesting. I feel like this is once I got all the decks settled after dropping and mixing and all that kind of stuff. So the program initially. So, wow, I'm doing a really good job of talking, aren't I?
It's okay. You're picking her up really well.
Okay, that's fabulous. Now I'd like to pick myself up.
Good, we're going to balance her right now. So I'm going to give her some chakra oil, and this is an oil that I made where it balances all your chakras. So I want you to deeply inhale on both nostrils. So you can not have to be, I mean, I'm glad she's picking you up so she can understand you, but.
Yeah, an empath goes so far. So the program from your 4-year-old self is, I feel like, where was the love and compassion? It feels like that was taken away, and maybe that is one reason why she's calling, because we're talking about that detachment. And the card from the Earth Magic, the love, compassion, it actually looks, they're two hands holding a heart, but it looks like it's being slipped away. And it's like, but maybe then you were told, well, maybe you have to do easy does it because you don't know if it's going to be taken away. That you just do a little easy does it, a little bit at a time. But that keeps you the inability to really move forward with passion and gusto because you feel like it is that easy does it. And then the other from Archangel Raphael was good night's sleep. And so where has your sanctuary been? And then what hit as Brenda was talking about that program, the depression and that kind of thing, you don't want that to be your sanctuary. And to actually have a good night's sleep and be able to, okay, separate and not feel like that's all you're going to do. But that's what's been the sanctuary.
So what I'm noticing is there's a conflict between your 4-year-old and your 26-year-old. What happened when you were 26? Was there moving, separation?
Well, there was probably some moving. I was on my own with my young son. He was 4, and
He was 4.
I might have had to move him from an apartment to another apartment. It was just always kind of, it was moving a lot.
All right, and in order for you changed positions, which is, the only way to best to describe this would be, here I was as a young kid, storm is happening outside, scared crapless from the sound of the wind, the rain coming in, thinking we're going to drown, thinking that we're going to be blown over, and, just the storm was bothering me. I would always have problems as a kid. Then I turned 15, was babysitting 2 children, and a tornado was coming through. I didn't have time to go in that 4-year-old program. I had to now become the adult to protect these 2 kids. So I became indifferent to the storm and only thought about their safety. And that is exactly what I'm seeing here, is you went from fear to indifference. So that's why there's a conflict now going on within you. The self-talk, blah, 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 is your 4-year-old. But it's also the 26-year-old feeling like, oh my gosh, all your energy is being drained because you really don't want to have to keep moving your son around because of the experience you've had. So now you're carrying that with you now, and you're like, oh, but I don't want to do it. In a way, I feel that you want to do this, but it's your programs that are stopping you.
yeah, I want to do this, I need to do this for financial reasons, and then but I just, I lost my house too, 2 years ago, so I had to move into this rental place.
Ah, okay.
And so I lost a lot of things along the way. I mean, it just seems like it's just been a perpetual life of losing.
Okay, so that's where you would have to come indifferent. It's different than detached. It's another way of suppressing, but it's the indifference is taking that. I have to put everything else on hold because right now I have to focus on how to get from A to B, because they're relying on you or you're relying on yourself. And there's no shame, and here's the interesting, there's no shame in what happened, because if you go out and start noticing this world, this America, has really all been about, everybody's been feeling this, the crunch, not having any money, losing their house, bankruptcy, all of these issues. So it's not like back in the old days where you had to be shamed or people would shame you. We're all in the same boat now. And there's a part of us that all need to start working together so we can just kind of lift each other up and out. All I know is that on a spiritual basis, you're not supposed to be where you are. You are supposed to be moving because it's better energy for you, and you will create a 6 degrees of separation, meaning the things that you need will be closer to you now.
Oh, good.
Okay? So,
That's good news.
but we're used to looking at, it's fighting the old system of, like, for instance, back in the old days, we were told that once you get a job, you keep it for the rest of your life, and if you quit, what a loser you are. But now, you look at the age that has come in, you're stupid if you stay in one spot. You need to grow. You really need to go find your passion, and you need to move. For you, you're fighting within that self that, oh, I failed. Like, I can still feel that depression, and it's not even yours as far as the original aspect of it. You did nothing wrong. All you're learning to do is work with Spirit, and Spirit says, oh, you know what, you're done here, and you need to come over here. But it's so hard sometimes to let go of our things. Because most of the time it's because we put so much sentimental value on them. And while you're healing, and I want you to understand that, I'm going to have you hold L3D as well. L3D, because I want you to think about all of those things that were yours, that you had to give up or lost or never get back again. I had to, when my building burnt, I lost all my stuff. And I had to hold L3D because it was about looking at the sentimental value I had on them and actually creating closure, because I had to say goodbye.
I understand what you mean, because in '97, I lost my entire house here in Arkansas due to a tornado.
Oh my gosh.
And so then I went through a divorce after that and lost a lot of stuff during the divorce, and just after I rebuilt it from the tornado.
Oh my
and
gosh.
we got back together, and I turned right around 10 years later, and we got divorced again, and then I had to take care of my grandmother, and I lost my house. I got really sick, and before I could get everything out of my house, someone broke in and stole it all.
Okay, so you are used to having loss, and no wonder you're paralyzed. Everything you just told me, I also want you to, when you hold L3S, I want you to think of those too.
Okay.
Because one thing about L3S is it's about being timid, inefficient, wishy-washy. You got to withhold, or you feel angry. It's all these things that are mixed, but yet at the same time, you just explained to me, why in the hell would I want to move forward? All I have ever had was grief
And loss.
and loss. So you need. That's what I want you to focus on. Get rid of those. Because when you hold L3D, I want you to think of bad memories. Just bad memories, dread, all the things like when you're, like you said, the divorce, tornado, stolen. Just because there's a reason that this is happening. But right now, all we can do is work on all the stuff that sits on the surface, because it's so heavy, it keeps attracting more crap. To get below it, to get to the attracting factor of why you have to have grief and stuff, you'll have to, once you get that healed, you'll have to call back in and then maybe bring that up, because they're saying that you learn to be in the flight mode at 1 year old, and we'll get to that later, okay?
Okay. Well, thank you so much for this, and I appreciate you helping me out. And thanks for the reading.
Oh, you're welcome,
Oh,
dear.
thank you
and
for
you're in our
calling.
prayers, so stay blessed.
We're sending light.
Thank you, darling. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Bye.
Okay, so it is very important that the experiences we go through, we record them. Our soul is a recorder. Our subconscious mind records everything, and the subconscious mind's number one job is to preserve the body. And so it looks like in life where we repeat the same story over and over, or the same hell seems to reappear, and that is because our soul is saying, hey, you up there in the consciousness that's running the show, I have to obey you, but here's an issue, I need you to resolve it. When you first had it, dear, you go, I don't want that, because you couldn't process it.
Hot potato.
Yes, and you let it go, and the subconscious mind's going, well, I have no one to throw it to. So the subconscious mind says, so really, you're not going to heal this? You want me to pack it where? In your ass? Oh, all right, we'll make it bigger back there, sure. You know, I mean, it's literally, your subconscious mind starts packing it on, putting it somewhere, stuffing it down, storing it in an organ, and then it scans the body. Oh, God, this issue is so old, they're losing like 50% life force. Okay, so bring it up, and then you got triggers from the world that go, oh my gosh, and you start thinking about, oh, I remember when he used to do that to me, you know, and you don't understand why you brought it up. But subconscious mind goes, oh, good, she hears me. Okay, now heal it. And it waits. And all you're doing is shoving, and oh, I don't want to think about that. Or then you go to your friend and blah, 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 and you create minions, and then you go blah, 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 and then finally you're like, and then you have to learn to let it go by smiling and pushing it aside and suppressing it to the point where it's like a little black bag just gets deeper and bigger. And what it does to your organs, well, if it's anger, it'll store in your liver. If it is grief, it'll store in your lungs. This is where a lot of your health comes from. Because I was reading in this one book I really love. It's called My Brain, Who Switched It Off? It's by Dr. Caroline Leaf. And she talks about how there's 87 thoughts, or 80%, research shows that 87% of illnesses that plague us today are direct results of our thought life. And 13% of the illnesses are attributed to diet, genetics, and environment. Our thought life does more to us than our food does. Because thoughts either nourish you, deplete you, or empower you. Nobody really thinks about this. And even if they do, the problem is that what are you supposed to do about it? Well, that's where I had asked God, what are we supposed to do about it? And this is where the tools have come in, from EFT, EHT, meridian tapping. All the healing tools that I have ever used, they're here. You know, cord switching, you name it, they're here. Energy medicine, touch for health. We finally now can say, we're going to take care of our thought life. We're going to take care of our emotional life, because we are spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical beings. And we really need to allow ourselves to experience that. We had a while ago, because we didn't make sense of our world, started trusting not the wise women like we used to, but gone to the world had changed so much that it was the doctors that became in charge. You have to go to one person. And it became that, you know, that it happened to be men, and it happened to be pharmaceutical, and it happened to be in control and in charge, organization and all this. And we're not blaming anything, it's just the structure of how our soul had to look at things.
Right, that's been the history.
Yes. So we kind of left it in the hands of the doctor to keep us well. I mean, what does China do? China says, I think it's China, if you have a sick patient, then we're going to make you pay. But if you have healthy people, I think that's when they reward you, whatever. Their whole goal is to got to keep you healthy. Because I think if they have a sick person, then they get in trouble. Whereas here, there's sick people all over the place.
Right, it's one of the things that I learned in the training I went through for becoming a ordained minister. I went through hospital chaplain training, and the big thing that was coming to light was the idea of patients' rights, the Patient's Bill of Rights, and that you are the one responsible for your healing, your health. You have the option. This was in the hospital to say you have the authority over your body to get a second opinion. In fact, we want you to do that. And that was like new information.
Yeah, because when I had said to the one doctor, well, I'm going to go get a second opinion, they basically says, fine, do so. They kind of took offense. And,
Well, I'm not saying everybody likes it, but
yeah.
it's a new thing, you know.
Well, it depends on how they take offense. But, again, we're changing the dynamics and the paradigm and the structure. But we learn to rely on somebody to carry that information. So why should we have to go out and get the information? We're going to rely on that person. Just like we go to investors, or not investors, investment bankers, and all of these people that work with your money. We trust that they have the knowledge because they've gone to school, they've done this, they've got the training, they have the expertise. So that's why a lot of people will go, well, where's your credentials? Well, here's the thing. I come from a whole different background. And if you really look at it, there really was no credentials for any of these people except for someone had to start the ball rolling. And then people have learned to master it throughout time. But in this day and age, everybody's like, oh, you can't learn anything on your own. That's not true. Because what did we read the other day, Scott? It was, I can't remember where we saw it. And what we saw simply was, if you never made a mistake, it was Einstein, if you never made a mistake.
It goes on a t-shirt at the ice cream place.
Okay, what did it say?
One of the people there was wearing it. You've never tried, I think is what it says. If
If you've never failed, then you've never
tried.
No, if you never.
I can't remember.
It was Einstein about something.
Yeah,
But-
it was,
but you need that
it made sense
spiritual
when we
growth.
read it too. Now I can't remember.
But that's what we need to do. Is you're actually going to have to. If you've never succeed or you've never failed, you'll never grow. I don't remember what it was. But that's important though. It's so important that you're growing. Now all of a sudden, what we're going to do is I feel like we're supposed to. I feel a distraction of energy. Hold on, I have to. Okay, I'm not. Okay, I see hurricanes. That's what I see. Okay. I don't want to get into that just yet. We will do. I feel like we're supposed to.
Do a little break here.
Well, we will do a break in a minute, but I feel like we're supposed to talk about it. But that's a really deep subject because what I see is little Isaiah. I have little Isaacs on my floor, little hurricanes on my floor, and I'm thinking, really. If Spirit wants us to do that, then I would say yes. Because Spirit is being very persistent, and I'm just curious if anybody else is here. Do you know that because of these bad hurricanes and tsunamis that was in the past, shelters are now finally taking pets as well? Because before, pets weren't classified as something you should save. Just people and the kids. And now it's like very important because look at how many animals ended up that had to be rescued. How many people have adopted rescued animals? So really it's about all of that stuff to learn to, appreciate and have compassion.